All right, boys. How we done?
Good evening.
All good.
Good. We're back. We can discuss potentially one of the best performances of the season. Loads of celebrating, loads of gloating, loads of beach balls, loads of flags, loads of tifos, loads of goals. And then we can discuss Easter Road yesterday as well, because that had not a lot of fans, lots of empty seats, a very poor protest, but lots of Aberdeen goals. And lots of laughs shared. Sound good?
Aye.
Still laughing, so yeah.
Well, starting the Hibs
Aye.
bit first because it's hilarious.
Oh, that's true. But what's been happening?
No much, mate. No much. Got over the sunstroke for Saturday. Being in the main stand, you just get sun the whole game, so I'm normally just cooling down. But
I know, it's unacceptable. Like, I'm so ginger that I forgot to put on sunscreen and have literal sunburn. So that is how it goes. Kev, what's been happening?
Oh, great deal. Just stopped laughing, not at Easter Road yesterday, but some Hearts fans that came up from Wigan on Saturday that didn't quite understand if you're going to have a heavy guy on one side of a picnic bench, make sure he stands up before everybody else gets up, or you're just going to topple the table, which I think happened about 4 or 5 times with copious amounts of alcohol being dropped all over the place as well. So, aye, other than that, all good.
What classy establishment were you at that had a picnic table?
Ardmillan. The Ardmillan Hotel now
Alright.
has the few picnic tables at the back and no back bar. Back bar has gone,
Alright.
Randall.
Oh, that's a blow. Why?
I guess it wasn't getting used often enough for either match days or functions, but they've turned that into an extra couple of bedrooms for their hotel.
No, it's disappointing.
We might have to revisit the Gorgio meter for the
Aye.
pub score. I could
Bring
take
it-
I
bring
don't
it
know
back.
if I
that
like
drops
this.
a few points, whatever it was. I can't remember.
100%.
Aye. The gentrification of the Ardmillan. I don't want extra bedrooms and picnic benches. That's unacceptable. When I come to power, that will not be allowed. And
Well,
what's been
my
happening?
blood pressure's up after hearing that, but my heart rate was also up thinking that I might have accidentally left a box of suppositories within within the shot of the camera that you're looking at me on. But no, that
Is that telling us what we need to know? Are you having one of those moments, are we?
mate,
Getting to a
no,
time
but,
in life?
mate, this is what happens when you get old, man. It's like you just can't hack it anymore. But
You got the Kevin Kyles?
the Farmer Giles. I can neither confirm nor deny. Actually, yes, I have. It's grim.
This podcast has took a turn
Well,
in
you're
the
getting
last
sorted.
first 5 minutes.
I
What's
know.
going on?
You are also allowed to come back. You're allowed to come to the game on Saturday because it's a dead
Exactly.
rubber, and we might actually get a result depending on how Wednesday goes. But we'll discuss all that.
I'll definitely
Oh.
be there because I've got a night out on the Saturday. So yeah, it'll be there, and hopefully this can just break my hoodoo. And I did renew my season ticket, much to your disgust, last week before the deadline, or whenever it was. So yeah, apologies in advance for that.
Well, you can renew, you just can't attend. But Saturday will be fine.
It's absolutely
Right.
fair.
So we'll talk about Saturday's game, the penultimate home game of the season versus Dundee. We'll look over the game, preview our next league encounter, which is on Wednesday. We visit Paisley for the third time in a season. We'll look over some of the headlines. We're scraping the barrel with headlines, but we'll talk about some of the folk returning for injuries when they're likely to come back. Some squad players. I see that some of our signings have had good weekends. Blair Spittle again, scored an absolute belter as well. Talk about that. Chasing 70 points. Stephen Naismith's interviews after the match, and how likely we're going to get it. Gordon back in goals for Saturday. Thoughts and feelings on whether he'll rotate and Clark will come back in for Wednesday, or if Gordon's in there till the end of the season to give him the opportunity to get to the Euros. Then a bit about Tifo chat. Gorgie Ultras prepared pretty spectacular display pre-game on Saturday to celebrate Lawrence Shankland, Robbo and Willie Bald, and then we'll talk about everything else Hearts related if we can find anything else in a season that is done, season objectives done. Aye, we'll try. We'll wing it out. Won't we?
Aye.
Sounds like a normal plan.
Aye, exactly. Right, Tam. I think you've got a Tam down,
I
don't
do,
you?
yes.
Oh, interesting.
I prepared it for last week, but everyone patched it, so I could have just test Kev versus me. I'd probably still get beat even though I had the answers in front of me, but
I don't think that's
So-
outside the doubt.
We've had controversy because people are calling Ando out. They are calling him out for cheating. They reckon that you've had no questions wrong in the last 3 weeks, including a game from 1991. So before everybody tells us, that's it. Let's get our hands in there, and we'll see where we go. It's a TAM game, so it's definitely not for 1991. If it isn't this game, if it isn't the weekend's lineup, I'll be impressed. So, Tammy,
it's actually not a game,
it's
to
over
be
to you.
fair. I thought I'd mix it up.
No
So,
game. All right.
bear in mind it was pre-Dundee game. What I was going to ask for is the last 15 goal scorers against Dundee. So, not including Saturday. Or you can include Saturday, actually. Yeah, go for it. I can add that on. Which,
So does that mean we're now at 16, 17, 18? What's the number now, Tam?
that gives it away, doesn't it? Yes. Stick with the 15. Doesn't matter. So stick with 15. Aye, and we'll go for it. I'll not tell you the dates. We can work it out. But within the time, we've had 9 games in total, 5 wins, 1 draw, 3 defeats, plus obviously another one at the weekend. There.
Sound.
Cool. Corbett, you want to kick us off?
Jordan Roberts.
No. Not in.
Is this Dundee both home and away, all competitions and that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ando?
Kingsley.
Correct. He had 2.
6-2
Kev.
game.
Right, Mikey Smith.
And Jordan Roberts never scored in that
He
6-2
didn't.
game.
No.
Like, who am I thinking of then? Anyway, it doesn't matter. Go, Kev.
Mikey Smith.
Mike Smith. Correct.
Gino then.
Correct.
Ellis Sims.
Give me 2 seconds. Sam's spot on.
Thank you.
Brilliant.
And Kev, sorry.
You sure?
Yep.
Walker.
Walker is correct.
He scored in the fog, didn't he?
Did.
Aye.
Andy Halliday.
Spot on. And
Dexter Lembekiza.
spot on. Scored this season, obviously, because he's only played first this season. So cool. Yep. Kev.
Cool, man. Thanks.
Thanks for the validation, Tam.
Well worked out. Barry Mackay.
Harry Mackay. Nope. Has not. Corbett.
Oda.
Yes. And
New and off.
Yep.
I'll take it. Shankland.
Spot on. Spot 6
The low hanging fruit.
Corbett.
Vargas.
I said it didn't include this weekend, unfortunately.
You what?
You said it did include this weekend.
All
said
right.
include
Okay.
this
Okay.
weekend,
I'll
yeah.
include it.
We had this conversation about 2 minutes ago. How have you forgotten in that time?
Tam we're talking about here, though.
Right. And
Alan Forrest.
and Forrest, yes. He has scored 3 goals and the most on this list. Kev.
I'm trying to think. Yeah, I'm trying to go back far enough to see if there's any others that are out there. Ois.
Did. He also scored in that game. Corbett spoke it. And
Jamie Walker.
Sorry,
I've
did
said it
you
already.
Oh,
Say
shit. John Suter. He's definitely scored recently. Well, it feels like recently, but it's ages ago.
2 more to go.
Did Elliot Freer score in that game?
We said
Did he
everyone
come
for
on
that
in
game.
that game or something?
I think we
What?
said everyone for that game.
You think?
No, we have.
That's worrying. Sorry, Tom, but again, it's like low-hanging fruit just to take a pop at you.
Who's next? Kev, is it?
Did Naismith not score?
Not in that. No.
Oh, he's not.
Robert?
Is it no Ando?
You kind of skipped a turn, I suppose, so. It was maybe Kev than you, but it's fine.
How many did you say there
2
is?
to go.
2 to go. I've already said Alan Forrest. We've said everybody that scored this season.
Yeah.
So we're.
They are quite hard, these two, to be fair.
That rubbish defender guy, Mihail whatever
Popescu.
he's called.
Popescu.
I'll stop you
Popescu.
there. No.
No.
Ando.
Nondouillet.
Dead. One more, Kev.
Ewan Henderson.
Nope.
No.
Similar sort of situation, but it's went on to have a better career, put it that way.
Yeah. I think I might know who it is.
Oh, who was a youngster that's went on to have a better career in.
Very strange career, to be honest. But
I know who it is.
Oh, was it
It's going to be.
Irving or whatever? Andy Irving.
it is. It is. There you go. That's all 15. 16 actually with Vargas. But aye.
Joe.
Kenny Vargas. Kenny
What's the score?
Vargas.
You cheated again, Ando, so you won.
Of course I did. Hands visible the entire time. Get that right up, yeah. I make no apologies for my superior knowledge. End of. Let's just move on.
Right.
2 sec.
Headlines.
Sorry, mate. I
sorry.
wasn't. I was going to do the
No,
whole
no.
3-2-1 and Corbett again.
All right, okay.
Right, 3-2-1 over to Corbett when you're ready.
Right, headlines. So, we'll talk about the first one because it was relevant to Saturday, but Craig Gordon back in goals. Do we reckon we'll see him now Wednesday and Saturday? Get the last 2 games of the season?
I don't know. I think it'll split it because actually in time I'll probably defer to you on this one because you're a wee Tartanami wanker. But who's the number one position between Craig Gordon and who?
I don't even think he's probably considered. It's probably just Angus Gunn, and then it's the other 2 to make up the squad between them 2 and Liam Kelly.
Right, okay, so I don't know. I reckon maybe play Gordon for both of them then because most senior last time probably. Well, in fact, it'll be his last time in a Scotland jersey. You would think he's got to be better than Angus Gunn. Where's he playing? Norwich? He's absolutely dreadful. So you'd have to think, he's going to give Gordon a run out for those 2 games. I think that'll happen.
Aye, I think Craig Gordon had a relatively comfortable afternoon. I think at one point at half time he turned to us and said that he'd touched more beach balls than the actual match ball, which made me
I was
laugh.
expecting to see a Pepe Reina moment where it was like the ball ricocheted
I
off
know,
it.
I have to say that the Dundee goalkeeper got it absolutely stinking on Saturday, and he had an absolute mare. He could not handle it. It was at one point I thought he was going to phone his man. Like, honestly, he was near enough in tears. He could not handle
Details.
it. He was getting slaughtered. And he made an absolute Ricky Hunt it for the second and the third goal because he buckled under the pressure, which was fun. But it'd be good to see Gordon get a couple of games. We've spoke about it at length. I understand why, but I don't understand the longevity thing from Hearts, because if Xander Clark spits the dummy, then I wouldn't be shocked if he did. I can understand why, given that he's up there with Butland competing for the most clean sheets in the league. He's had a pretty solid season. Is he Craig Gordon standard? Probably not, but I don't know if Craig Gordon is still Craig Gordon standard at 41, but it's good to see him play. It's always good to see Craig Gordon in a Hearts top, so it's pretty decent. In terms of people come back, I think Hoff and Halkett pretty much confirmed that they won't be rest until maybe next season, but Boyce is trying to get some game time between now and the end of the season. Does anybody see any of that happening or have an issue with it?
I don't have an issue with it as long as it doesn't somehow trigger yet another contract extension for another year. And that
I think he already
he
got
did,
that,
aye,
didn't
but
he?
Yeah, he's got that.
I'm saying that tongue in cheek. Like it's he turns up enough and is fit enough to get zero. I think 1 goal in 8 games or whatever it's been this season, and that's enough to trigger a contract extension. So if it means that not happening again, then yeah, let's not have him anywhere near the club. And I'm aware that that's a step change from my usual position, which is I love Boyce and everything he touches, but I don't know, like maybe coming towards the end of that one, I feel.
Yeah, I've got nothing against Boyce. He's been a great servant to the club.
Absolutely.
At points in the season as well. He and Shankland are starting to form a pretty decent partnership. Sensible for the club. I think Halkett and Boyce and Mackay, Devlin, all the guys that we spoke about before that have been here for a bit now, but yet have yet to take us to that next level. They're all got something really to prove next season, and given what we've seen from Naismith and how he's managed to get the best out of most of the players, look at Barry Mackay, pretty much almost back to his Barry Mackay best on Saturday, although the argument and devil's advocate first one of the show would be it's a dead rubber in a game that doesn't matter. I would like to see those levels of performances for Barry Mackay and the games that matter, but you can only ask him to do what he can do, and he was pretty sensational on Saturday. And same for Halkett. How often have we sat here and discussed Craig Halkett being injured? He's made fleeting appearances this season and he's back on the sidelines again, so hopefully this is like sort of extended period of time out, bit of focus, a bit of proper rehab, we can see the best Halkett next season in that as well.
Sorry, I was going to say, how long do we have Halkett for? When's he under contract until?
Just signed an extension, didn't he? Another 2 years.
He just got an extension too. I'm sure he's 2026,
okay,
as well. Talking of extensions, almost seamless, Ando, well done, into Benny's interview at the weekend. Tam, what's your thoughts on it?
I think for me, it hinted that he's going to be staying here. It's a very, very strange interview to have for what he says if he's not. So I'm all for it. If he's staying on, I think he's a player that we don't really have any other midfields like him. So I'm more than happy for him to be here next season.
Yeah, like I said again, it's recency biased as you always do now in the modern world. But he was very, very good on Saturday. That Benny, that Devlin is a great combination. At points, Benny can still be far too slow. still reluctant to shoot, which we need that in midfielders. You look at, like we're going to talk in a little second about some of our pre-contract signings. Look at Spittle, pinging balls in. There was plenty of opportunities on Saturday for Benny and Devlin to drive a bit forward and have a ping. But again, if Benny left for free, would I be upset? I probably would, because if we can get him back to anywhere near his best, then that's a sellable asset that, you know, we should be looking to try and keep and potentially flip for money. So, but the guy talks in riddles. I've no idea what his interview means. I don't know if it means he's staying, if he's gone, if it's whatever. I've no idea. I've no idea. Well, we touched on it in the intro. That's pretty much all the Hearts chat done. Our neighbours having quite the time of it, Kev.
I think you've got to, you've got to put your heart out for them. They genuinely started off this season believing they could finish third. Looks like they're going to achieve that, which is, give them their credit. Looks like they are going to achieve third. Unfortunately, that's in the bottom half of the league table, but they've achieved third. So, for that point of view, there was only just over 7,000 at the game on.
Aye, and Hibs attendance is world 7,000. Had more people at a gaff. It was empty. It was empty. But if I would say fair play to their ultras for celebrating the Aberdeen goals. Some of the weirdest behaviour I've seen. I don't know if you've seen the videos of them celebrating and cheering the Aberdeen goals.
Cheering the wee 16-year-old scoring his goal. Just clapping away.
No,
Very weird.
I'm sorry. What is that? That's improper behaviour. Who does that?
I do it every week just so I don't offend anyone. Mate. Nah.
Someone.
Why is that not surprise us?
They're very, very
I'm
good.
kidding.
They're a very weird bunch. But our ultras, on the other hand, it's pretty impressive. Tifo on Saturday. Obviously, a nod to Lawrence Shankland and his achievements in 2 seasons at Hearts. The fact that he's even talked about potentially being able to go into the same sentences as Robbo and Willie Bald, it shows you just the impact that Lawrence Shankland has had at Hearts, doesn't it?
100%. He's at a different level from anything we've had, especially goal scoring wise, for what, nearly 20 odd years. From that point of view, you've got to try and do everything you possibly can. He will, of course, no doubt have to sit down with family and think about what his next move is. Depends on what the club can offer. Does that meet his challenges? European football again. He knows the club inside out. He's captain. There's a lot of expectations put on him from that side of things, but he's handled that. So, fingers crossed we can hopefully get some business done during the summer and put him on a new contract for a longer period.
You can talk to his wife and pay me back. He owes me £300 that I spent on beach balls. So, any bumper pay deal that he can get if he wants to reimburse me for the 10,000 beach balls that I bought, that would be nice.
I didn't want to be negative, Ando, but let's be honest. I think we just need to enjoy him for these last 2 games that we're going to have with him. I genuinely don't think that he'll be pulling on a Hearts jersey next season. And if he is, fine. But he's going to do a Kylian Mbappe and run his contract then. If we don't sell him, he's gone anyway. So he's either got 2 games or all of next season. But all of next season, frankly, it's not really going to matter, is it? I don't know why I feel so pessimistic about this whole situation.
Well, it depends on the scenario, because one, I don't think the club will sell him. It doesn't make any sense to, unless it's an absolute bumper bid that comes in. We've spoken about this before. And by bumper bid, I mean, so if we get European football, well, we have European football next season. If his goals gets his European football the next again season, you're talking £10 million plus in value to the club for his goals. Do you see anybody bidding 10 million plus for Shankland in the summer?
Unless it was Saudi money or
So-
something, but yeah.
Yeah, so I can't see that happening. And then the question comes is, right, well, if he'd signed, he's now going to go basically a year and a half on whatever salary he's on now versus a year and a half on 4 or 5 times the salary that he was currently on that was offered to him. The club offered to make him the club's highest ever paid player. So it feels a bit weird. I think what will happen is the summer will drag out. I don't think anybody will bid for him proper. And then he'll either get the Rangers save me from my heart's hell daily record spin that we always get, or he'll probably wait to the last day of the transfer window or the first day of the window being shut and signing the extension with some form of release clause in case somebody does bid for him. But who knows? We'll wait and see. We'll wait and see what happens. But like I said, I'm with you, and regardless if it is his last 2 games in a Hearts jersey, we've been unbelievably lucky to have him for 2 seasons. The fact that, he's the first to score 20. If he scores on Wednesday, become the first to score 30 since Robbo. If he scores 2 in the next 2 games, he'll match Robbo. If he scores 3 in the next 2 games, he'll break Robbo's 31. So, and think of the times even just 2 years ago when we were sitting talking about strikers, we just named them. We were talking about Nando and Boyce and guys that couldn't get to double figures, or I think your wager with Boyce was that he could get to 10 league goals. Do you know what I mean? And now we're talking
Ridiculous
about
that
Shankland scored
you
10.
think about that. It's like, and it's one of those ones that you're so grateful to have had him, but then, and you think about all the great goals and stuff like that he scored, and obviously we're going to get a European tour next year, pretty much as a result of that. But it's still absolutely gutting to think about all the possible, and there's so many permutations, as you rightly say, of what could and will happen. But I don't know why I just go into this, but the close season with a cloud over my head just because of this one thing. I would love to know what's going to happen either way, and then we can plan around it accordingly. But again, balls are hairy, no crystal.
Aye, but the Tifo time on Saturday, it was class, and it was good to see the whole Gorgie stand getting involved as well. To be fair, which they have done most of the season when the GU have done displays and stuff.
Yeah, I personally think it was the best one yet. Every time it gets better and better. So looking forward to. I know there's a lot of plans. Obviously, we were at fundraiser last week. I know there's a lot of plans for next season, so I'm looking forward to seeing what the boys can do. And
here's hoping.
Just even a reflection on this season, the atmosphere has been night and day for the last few seasons with them there. So it's a credit to them, to be honest.
Aye, well, to be fair, it's a credit to the fan base too, because like I said, there's only 175 of them inside Tynecastle. They'd be easy enough to ignore. We ignored 600 Dundee fans on Saturday. The fact that folk get involved and join in, and that helps everything, which is decent. And it's the same at away games and that as well. We know that the drum isn't for everybody, but everybody seems to get behind them, and it's no coincidence that it's the first full season. And we've did we just win? We've won something like ridiculous on the bounce at Tynecastle, or unbeaten since I think Rangers are the last team to beat us at Tynecastle, which was in November or just the early parts of December. So it's been pretty decent. Right, that's pretty much everything from a headlines perspective. Dundee rolled into Tynecastle on Saturday. They had some faint European aspirations, so they came obviously looking to try and get a victory. Obviously our European place and third was sealed given the results of the following weekend, so a dead rubber for us. What was your thoughts going into the game, Kev?
I think going into the game, I think I expected a home victory. I think last week when Tam and I caught up, I think I predicted 3-1, I think I said, for Saturday's result. Wasn't that far off it, I must admit, but maybe from a starting lineup point of view, I think the only surprise for me, given Dexter's performance at Celtic Park the week before, was that he started ahead of Atkinson, and actually played the full match. I think I expected Atkinson to actually start that game rather than the other way around.
Is Atkinson injured? Because I seen he wasn't even in the squad when
He was in his trackies.
I seen him. He was walking in as part of the match day squad. Appreciate that he wasn't actually on the bench, but he was definitely there because I seen him just before I left, actually, early.
No. Tam, best performance of the season?
Might come back to the recency bias you spoke about earlier, but I can't disagree with you. I can't think anything that's been as so comprehensive, and never felt anything was in doubt on Saturday, to be honest. I felt we were in control the whole game, to be fair. Creative chances, even the subs that came on, I thought they all made a difference as well. So I think it probably is.
Yeah. I was thinking about who had a bad game, and I don't even know who had a bad game, but the only one that really stood out is maybe a bit of a non-performer would be Dexter. Plenty of opportunities in the first half to put the ball in, and to be fair to him, he actually did put a decent ball in, but Shankland never reacted. And then for the rest, he barely got the ball off the ground when he was putting the ball into the box. But maybe if there was anyone to say never really had a great game, he would maybe be one. But I actually thought it was the first time, Ando, this season I've seen us play with a bit of swagger. You could see that the pressure was off almost, and we at points toyed with Dundee. It was great to see.
It's one of the ones that, and again, I've only seen the highlights in Sportscene. I didn't see the full game and I wasn't there. But one of those ones that it's frustrating when you think, right, just because there is no pressure and there is a bit of swagger there, it just makes you think about how good this team could actually be if it could get out of its own way when it comes to big games when there is a pressure situation. Now again, not to be total negative Ando at all, or sorry for this whole pod, but I do agree. I think there was never any bits that I'd seen in the highlights where you thought, whoa, a bit dicey. It was turned up, got the job done, with a bit of swagger, move on to the next one. But that attitude just needs to be there when it comes to bigger games, and God knows what that squad could have achieved.
And I agree in terms of the two big games that mattered. We've let ourselves down in the semi-final. I'm not saying that we should win those games, but performance-wise, we could have performed better. But actually, we're at a situation now where, so we spoke about before that the manager of the year stuff's a total nonsense, and this is exactly what happened. They've went, do you know what, is it going to be? They wanted to get to Clement, but the Rangers trebles died, and they kind of get to Rodgers because even by Celtic fans' own admission, they've had a terrible season. So they've went, right, well, we'll not get to either of the two of them, and they've just picked random names out of a hat to say, well, John McGlynn's won the Vida League undefeated with Falkirk, like that's an achievement, like who gives a shit? And then Dundee manager, who is now, they've won like 11 games this season or something like that. No, he's a good manager. I think he's done a good job with Dundee. We've spoken about that before. And Derek McInnes. But if Hearts win on Wednesday, win on Saturday, we could finish within like 12 points at Rangers in second, which will be one of the first teams since probably, well, Aberdeen finished above Rangers, but that was them just coming back up the leagues or whatever. It'll be one of the closest seasons probably with a strong Rangers and Celtic that there's been for a long, long time, considering that I think it was something like 37 points Aberdeen finished behind Rangers last season. Stephen Naismith should have been, and absolutely should have been, in the conversation for manager of the year, but it goes back to what you said, Ando. I think in the two biggest games of the season that have mattered, League Cup semi-final, Scottish Cup semi-final, we've kind of failed to really leave a mark on the game. If it went out a bit like Aberdeen or whatever, you could say unlucky, but both games were pretty poor and comfortably beaten. So it was good to see us on Saturday. Like I said, if we could have played like that in any of those matches, it'd have been brilliant. But Saturday was good because it's a mindset thing, Kev, where, and I hate saying it because he's not here, but under Robbie Nielsen, I don't think we would have got that performance. You know, we'd have been on the beach, we'd have been on flip flops. Naismith for the starts always talks about records and righting wrongs and getting better, and obviously he's got his target set for he wants 70 points, and the team just played with proper swagger. There was absolutely no beach mentality on Saturday.
And there's definitely that, and I think a lot of that comes from his career path as well. You know, okay, maybe not the time spent at Kilmarnock, but definitely time spent at Ibrox, time spent at Goodison Park, out on loan at various other clubs as well as. He's seen how managers that he's worked under set standards and set objectives for a season. And once you maybe hit that particular objective, whether that is top 4, top 6, whatever it may be, then you reassess and you set a new objective for the remaining games before the season closes. And that's one thing that Naismith, I believe, has done within the club. Whereas you rightly say, would Nielsen be setting those kind of targets? Possible chances are, or expectation level is probably no, he didn't, because that wasn't what he came through. He came through with Craig Levein, and Craig Levein took him to 3 different clubs. You know, it was Craig Levein who gave him his opportunity of being a manager. That wasn't how Craig Levein set up teams. He would be exactly the same, that if you'd hit your objectives, then actually, do you know what, guys? It's a bounce game. Let's just, you know, make sure that we're all, you know, walking off the pitch afterwards, after the game without any injuries.
Vargas scored on Saturday, Tam. It was his 9th goal of the season on Saturday. How many goals has Forrest got? Both Vargas and Forrest must be closing in on double digits for the season.
Must be. I actually meant to look at that. Yeah.
Given that Gino got 13 last year, and pretty much then it was a couple of the goals for defenders or whatever it was.
I think this is just league goals, but Shankland 27, Vargas 6, George Grant 5, Oda 5, Alan Forrest 4.
Right,
As the BBC quick look at the top scorer table, but I assume that's just league.
He's not scored in any cups, Forrest, but
okay.
The two of them between each other.
Vargas is a goal away for double digits, and even at the start of the season, we were bemoaning, saying we didn't have anybody that could replace Gino's goals, but you forget that Vargas is so young as well. He's 21 or whatever it is. Debut season in a foreign country, the first time he's ever played outside of Costa Rica, and he's I love Kenny Vargas. I said that when we signed him before he didn't get the ball, just because he was South American. He instantly was in my top 10 best players I've ever played for Hearts, but he is turning into a decent player, isn't he?
Absolutely. He's only going to improve as well. Like, he's, as you say, he's young. He's getting used to the pace of the game, getting used to the shithousery defenders we see up here as well. And you know what? I love watching him because he looks like he loves playing for us as well. And that goes around the whole team, to be honest. On Saturday, the team mentality and the sort of team spirit, I don't want to just go into all of that, but it looked good. And even with Kent on the sideline, he was celebrating all the goals, everything like that. And But Vargas seems to be well liked. They seem to wind each other up. There was that video, I don't know if you've seen Civic, just like having a wee laugh at him at the end, but that just goes to show that he's welcomed. And as you say, hopefully going into next season, he's going to have to probably step up a bit more as well, depending if Shankland's here or not. And yeah, I think we'll see improvements as we go on as well.
Yeah, hopefully. I think he's been a good player. Kev, Saturday was the Barry Mackay show, wasn't it? He absolutely ran the show.
He did. There's still a guy sitting Section G that was still giving him absolute dogs abuse and pelters. And I have to take my hat off to the boy that's on Twitter that put the windows opening little noise and closing noise into the Jordan McGee getting spun inside out and outside in. That was quite amusing. Don't know who it was. I can't give the guy the credit, but that was funny. There's probably a chance that Jordan McGee is still trying to unknot himself for that first goal.
Just on that, the boy in Section G that you're talking about, is it that guy? Yeah, and you know what I mean
No, that's
when
a different
guy. Right,
yep.
okay. Right,
yeah,
so.
I know the guy you're talking about. No, it was a different guy actually who didn't recognise. I hadn't seen him before, but was sitting in not too far away a seat from that particular individual.
I was going to say, I sit in Section X.
No, it's not you or your dad. Anyway, it's fine.
But Andrew, that's like, I know we keep talking about it, and it's a broken record with Hearts fans or whatever, but no one's ever argued that Barry Mackay isn't a talented football player. When I've said it before, when Barry Mackay is Barry Mackay, he's the best player on the team outside the Shankland. He sees things that no one else sees, and hopefully that's just a taster for the fact that, you know, he's nowhere near match fitness. He's just came back from injury, but if we can get him fully fit and firing, he's a massive asset to Hearts.
100%. But my problem with that whole scenario is that if you look at him throughout his entire career, he's done the same thing. It's always been the same story at every single club. I don't know what the management team or the coaching staff need to do in order to get a tune out of him consistently. There's always something, right? So the injuries is one thing, attitude is another, but I completely agree. When he's on it, he is absolutely red hot, right? No one will get near him, and what he can deliver for the team will be absolutely incredible. It just seems to be by appointment only. It's never on a consistent basis. And again, that's not isolated to Hearts. That's been throughout his entire career. I don't know, struggle to put my finger on exactly what it is, but if someone can unlock that, fucking hell, he'd be a multi-million-pound player.
Yeah. I think last season he suffered from that. We spoke about it at length last year as well, where we got too tactical with Barry Mackay. You know, Robbie Nielsen was asking him to do hold positions and stay and track runners and do all the things that aren't Barry Mackay. You know, I think what you can see from Naismith is saying that you're okay drifting potentially, but the quality's got to be there. You know, you've got to have the work rate, you've got to chase your man, you've got to do what you need to do. And I just thought it was great to see. The second goal is everything that Barry Mackay gives that other players don't. 2 or 3 times when the boy was fully engaged, pressing him, tackling him, he could have just passed it inside to Kingsley, could have passed it inside to Rouse or wherever he wanted to be, but he didn't. He kept the ball close, got the defender to get tighter, and then spun him, and then ran past the guy that was coming in next, drifted past him, and threaded the ball through and made the keeper make a choice, and the keeper a bad choice. And I think that just sums up what it is for Hearts. There's no other Hearts player that does that. Everybody else would have played it to Gordon, kicked out for a throw in. They would have picked the easy pass. He trusts himself, believes in himself to take the ball in a dangerous place and then emerge from that place and play an unbelievable pass. It was great to watch. It was good to see him back to his best. We talked about it there as well. Devlin, I thought Devlin was absolutely superb on Saturday. Devlin was my own personal man of the match on Saturday. It was one of the best performances I've seen from Devlin.
He played well. I think going back to the Barry Mackay, I think what you've also got to recognise is the work that Cochrane done on Saturday. So Cochrane Cochrane made an awful lot of runs on Saturday to take various different players away to give Barry Mackay that bit of space. But he'll probably not get the credit for it. I'm never one for giving players ratings out of 10 or anything like that. But I think Cochrane wouldn't have got the high sort of rating that you would normally get. We always say he's a 7.5 sort of out of 10 player every week. What he actually did on Saturday was that sort of hard work to give Barry Mackay the space and the option to cut inside, and we know that's his preference. But when he's running down the other side of him, the defender's got a choice to make. And there was a number of occasions that McGee went to make that run and follow the run of Cochrane, not actually realising that the centre back wasn't actually as close as he should have been, which gave Mackay so much opportunity and space and chances to do exactly as he did for the second goal.
Aye. Cool though. Thanks for confirming that Devlin had a great game. That was class.
I just wanted to go back to it.
That was class.
So I said, I'm going to go back to it.
Thanks, mate. Loved it, man. Great. Anything else you want to talk about?
Devlin played well, eh? I thought that was one of Devlin's best performances on Saturday. His slide tackle in the second half, in the middle of the second half, was probably as gave him a round of applause from that point of view, because he was just on it. He knew he's coming into that particular role that Naismith spoke about probably a month and a half ago, around a box-to-box midfielder, somebody who can. If we can just get a little bit of shooting practice in his legs, we might actually have a player there.
Aye, same. But I thought he was brilliant. I thought he was everything that Hearts, that was good about Hearts on Saturday, came for Cammy Devlin. His intensity, his pressing, his passing, his aggressive nature. And like you spoke about Tam Benny winning the ball, giving it to Devlin, and Devlin running with it is everything that makes them two great when they tick. When they're like that, they are by far the two best midfielders that we have at the club, and Saturday was only added to the evidence of that.
I think it says a lot that with the players we've been talking about with Dundee that have been good for the season, their centre midfielders, I can't even remember the young boy or McGowan really having much of the ball or getting involved very much. What's his name? Cameron. There you go. Sorry. So it just showed how good our midfielders were. That's the first time I've seen Devlin in person in that role you were talking about. Obviously, you were at the Kelly game and you were saying how good he was in that game. Specifically, I didn't really see it for the TV as much as that, but when you're watching in person, I would agree. He's very much improved in that role, and hopefully that continues as well.
Yeah, and I was testament to Hearts that we managed to rest some players as well, like Grant and Kent, obviously Atkinson, and they obviously gave the opportunity to bring some of the young lads on. James Wilson came on about 54 minutes and never put a foot wrong, never looked out of place. He's another, along with Tate and Denham, another positive outcome for the season as well, isn't it?
Absolutely. I liked how I know you sort of get that with youngsters, but you sometimes see them fold a bit, but anytime he had the opportunity to have the ball, he was running forward with it, or he was picking out the correct pass. He was just confident with what he was doing. And see, when I seen him come on, I thought he was going to maybe be a bit small for that sort of Dundee defence, but he caused them no end of problems, to be honest. And I thought
he was
really
winning
good.
headers. He was getting in for headers as well. And a shout out to Shankland, by the way. There was a situation in the second half where I can't remember what the Dundee defender was, but he rammed Wilson into the advertising boards when we won a corner, and Shankland literally grabbed him, and I could hear him shouting at him saying, "Apologise." Apologise to him. He was screaming at the boy, and the boy apologised to him. And it was good to see. But it was class. I thought Denham was good when he came on as well. I thought Wilson, and we know that we like Tate. Tate's been a bright spark, but it's good to see young guys getting a game. I know we used to have a young guy counter, given how little Robbie gave them the opportunity, but Naismith talks at length where if you're old enough, you're good enough, which can only bode well for the future, Ando, can it?
Definitely. It's like you'd like to see, like, we've got so much potential, I'm sure, within the B team and the lower, younger teams. But you never really get to see much of it. You see sort of see it in fits and starts, but you never really see too much of it at length. But I think under Naismith, given that that's his background and where he came from, obviously he'd be a lot more tapped in to, I suppose, the pipeline, for want of a better word, of who's coming through, and hopefully that all works in their favour. Get to see more minutes from more youngsters, and who knows, we could unearth a gem or two.
Yeah, I think it was a very enjoyable afternoon on Saturday. We had the VAR decision on Saturday. Then were there any thoughts on it? I was right behind it, and I thought it was a penalty. When I seen it in real time, given the movement, it looked to me like Kingsley leaned into it, but when you see the replay, he quite clearly moves his arm out the way. What was your thoughts at the time of the game?
I think his reaction said a lot for me.
Yeah.
Like he wouldn't be one to, if he knew it hit his arm, I think he would probably let it happen, but he was proper raging. And then Gordon was.
Well, the thing was that I liked the most about him is he went and got the ball and basically put it on the corner flag and was like, "You've got a corner because that's not a penalty." Like, is essentially what he said. But I just laughed at the Dundee manager after the game. Made me chuckle because it was pretty clearly not a penalty. I don't know what he was moaning at. I don't know what his argument was. When managers say, "Oh, little Dundee," then you get decisions like that. What wrong decisions? You know what you're saying is you're upset that Hearts didn't get cheated so that you could get a penalty. Get it right up, yeah. But it was an enjoyable day on Saturday. We obviously now roll into Paisley again for the third time this season. Any thoughts on the game on Wednesday?
It's the most dead rubber of dead rubber games now, isn't it? St Mirren can't get fourth, so.
That's true. And Dundee can't catch them either, eh?
Nah, it's pretty much top six is set, essentially.
There we go. You going, Kev?
No. Can't make it.
Can't make it. I was going to offer you a lift for work too. A poor excuse, but never mind. Anybody else?
I mean, that could change.
Well, you need to let me know quickly because as it stands now, I'm getting on a bus. So you need to let me know. I'll get you on the bus or I'll get you a lift.
No worries.
Kevin, if you're not going, I'll take the ticket. Get rid of it.
I've not got a ticket, but there's still tickets available.
What?
So what's your thoughts for it then? Do you expect to see wholesale changes? Do we still see Shankland and guys like that getting games? He's got records to break, or is there a point where we wrap him in cotton wool and hope that he doesn't get injured for the Euros?
I don't think we'll see much difference for the teams. We might have a few come in and out, but I think he's going to go pretty full strength. Then see how the subs go with bleeding in a few more youngsters or Wilson back in, but I think he's going to go pretty for it. I don't think it'll be mass changes, personally.
And given the fact that he's set a challenge to the players to get to 70 points, likelihood is that he will go with probably the same starting 11 from Saturday. I don't see any reason why you would change anything. Go back to comments made previously, and those won for it. Why change, a winning team? These guys that came on Saturday all performed well when they came on, but I don't know if they've done enough to actually, effectively bump somebody off the starting 11 from that point of view. So I wouldn't be expecting any changes at all.
You might see Kent come in, because I know he was having a knock on Saturday, but yeah.
What did you say there, sir? Kent?
Aye, yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Right, prediction time. Kev?
Given the fact that I think Naismith has instilled a bit of professionalism in the team, even although it is a dead rubber, I expect a fairly high level of performance, and I will go with a sneaky 2-1 win.
Nice. Tam?
I was actually thinking the same. Is all our results for then this year not been 2-1 either way?
No, we got beat first game over there 1-0.
1-0, brackets 5-0 when they had about 40 goals chopped off with VR, remember?
Good point. Aye. that spell of the
Then we
season
won
I've
the
just tried
game.
to block out, to be honest. But
Christmas time we won 2-0.
So nowhere near 2-1. One game we won 2-1. I said.
Well done, Tam.
Yeah, I think we will win 2-0 then.
Ando.
A 0-0 draw.
We're almost in similar boats. I think it'll be very, very similar as well. It's a difficult place to go. 1-1 is what I'll go for.
Good effort.
Cool. Right. Well, we'll review Rangers and St Mirren, the last podcast of this season, Sunday, Monday of next week. We'll maybe do some light touch bases of Hearts if anything exciting happens in the Hearts world over the summer. Tam will have his Tartan Army podcast if you're interested in listening to that. We won't share any links to it. You'll have to find it yourself. But other than that, I'll see you all on Monday, boys.
Catch you in a bit.
Catch you then.
See you later.
Gorgeros.